Hey, good evening, folks. Welcome back to our second lesson, Aleph-Bet for Beginners, live with Cole Younger, my friend down in Seattle, Washington. He's joined by many people in his Zoom room teaching the basics of the Hebrew alphabet so we can learn to read and write Hebrew. It's an exciting class. We've got people from all over North America. I know it's a little late for those on the East Coast. You can tell when they're dedicated and they want to learn Hebrew. It's always a joy. So let's jump in. Cole's smiling tonight. Cole, how are you tonight?
I'm doing good, thank God, Dan. How are you?
Well, it's your class, sir. You got the class. Please teach us Hebrew. I mean, last week I didn't finish my 25 times with every letter. I did some, but I learned about the dagesh. Wow.
Absolutely. We learned the basic Aleph-Bet last week. Let me pull up my screen share real quick. We learned the basic Aleph-Bet last week. Everybody see that?
Yes, sir.
Great. And we had been working on writing the Aleph-Bet 25 times. That was the homework for the week. I don't know if everybody did it or not, but if you downloaded this from last week's meeting, if you downloaded this guide, why, you'll have all the letters. You'll have the directions on how to write all the letters. So my first question to the people in the Zoom room here is, has anybody actually completed the homework assignment, written the letters out? Do I have anybody that's done that?
I didn't finish it, Cole. I've just had such a swamp week, but it's
sure.
I get the point, but in order to write it, you need to do that.
Yeah, Tony. Okay.
Yeah, I did.
You did great. Thank you very much. So you'll see that last week we covered the writing of the first 8 letters of the Aleph-Bet. We got up to the letter Chet. Remember, I'm drinking water because we're speaking Hebrew again. Got to have lots of the juice of life in your throat when you speak Hebrew. Yep. So we had stopped at the Chet last week. So what we want to do now is let me go ahead and enlarge this a little more. And I want to start right here at the next letter in the Hebrew alphabet on how we write the letter Tet. Tet is just basically one movement. It's kind of like you're drawing a U with an angle inside of it. Okay, and you'll notice that like all the other regular letters, it comes right down to the line. There's one thing I forgot about the class before we get started on the class too far. I want to dedicate our classes to people who need refuah shlema, complete recovery. So I want to dedicate this week's class to Chaya Sarah Malka Bas Bracha Leah Chava, Jared Ben Gail, Leah Bas Chaya Pesha, Bracha Malka Bas Leah, and Chaya Pesha Bas Sarah. May they have a complete refuah shlema, complete recovery, and may our study be in the merit of their healing. So you'll see that the Tet comes to the line just like all the regular letters. Whereas the next letter is actually up off the line. It's a Yud. It looks like a little apostrophe mark, kind of. Well, like a big apostrophe mark. And it's up off the line a little bit. It has to be off the line in order for it to be recognized as a Yud. If you were to take that all the way down to the line, it would look just like a Vav. And we can't have that. We have to have the Yud. Now, the next ones are very simple. Kaf, for instance. Of course, Kaf. What is this Kaf missing? Can anybody guess what this Kaf is missing? No guesses?
A dagesh.
A dagesh. Very good, Tony. That Kaf is missing the dagesh in the middle. This would be the letter Chaf. Remember, we say the CH as in the word Bach. We say Chaf. So if that had the dagesh in the middle, the little dot right here in the middle, it would then be a kaf. Because remember, a kaf has a little dagesh that is trying to cough out. Now the final letter here is a final chaf. This is I believe this is a Sephardic text right here. And we're doing Ashkenazi, but we can use this for both purposes. Just by explaining that this is a final chaf and not a final kaf. But you'll notice that it looks a lot like a daled. If we go back up to the daled here, it looks a lot like a daled, except that it is extended below the line. Now, somebody had asked last week if there had always been final letters in the Hebrew language and what the importance of them are. What is the purpose of having a final letter? So
right. I did ask that.
I asked Chabad.org and asked the rabbi at Chabad.org, and the answer was from Rabbi Eliezer Zalmanov at 770 in New York, 770 Eastern Parkway. He said there is no clear reasoning given for these specific letters. There are certainly mystical, Kabbalistic meaning to these letters, but I do not believe it has ever been clarified. All the best, Rabbi Eliezer Zalmanov for Chabad.org. So that's the answer that we got as far as why there are final letters. I think the reason is that they've just always been there. Because Hebrew, a lot of times there's very little space in between the letters, in between the words. So sometimes these final letters will really help when you're reading, because you know that's the end of a word. When you come to a final letter, you know it's the end of that word that's using a final letter. Of course, not all words end in a final letter. But for the ones that do, it makes it easier to figure out where the end of the word is. Now, this next letter we're moving down to is the Lamed. And Lamed is just like a little, kind of like a little Harry Potter birthmark. Kind of like a little lightning bolt right there. You go straight down over, like a number 7 with a pokey right there, little thing poking up. Now, this next letter really stands out to me every time I see it. Whenever I see it written, whenever I see it in script, the mem always stands out because it's, I don't know, there's just something about it that always stands out to me. And it's very easy to draw. It's like drawing a triangle, except you do not connect the bottom here on the bottom left. And then you add another line diagonally from the left to the right on the left side of the triangle. And that gives you a mem. Now for the final mem, it's very easy. You draw a square, but you make sure that you leave a little tail hanging off the upper left side here. That's a final mem. The next letter, the nun, is just one mark. It looks like a backwards C sort of, but with short arms. It looks like the chaf, except that the arms are shorter. They're equal but shorter. Now, nun also has a final letter, the final nun, and you'll see that it also extends below the line on which you're writing the letter. But it starts out just like a regular nun, except that it makes just one straight line all the way down. Very easy letter to write. Samach, another easy letter to write. A lot of people will write it like this with a straight line, kind of a half circle, and then a straight line back up, leaving the tail hanging over the upper left side. Other people will do it. There's a couple different styles that you'll see here as we go along, but this is a very common way to write it. Then ayin is very easy as well. You make yourself kind of like a backwards Y almost, except that it goes on the line upon which you're writing. It doesn't go below like a final letter would. And that's an ayin. Now, what do we know about the ayin? What sound does the ayin make? Can anybody tell me?
Silent.
Silent. Very good.
Silent
Thank you.
letter.
Thank you very much. That's exactly right. Ayin and Aleph, we'll remember, are both silent letters, the only two silent letters in the Hebrew language. Next letter. Now let me ask you, what's missing on this pay?
Doggish.
Dagesh, again. But if we have a dagesh in the middle of this, this becomes a pay. Like there's a P in the pouch right there. That becomes a pay. So we write it sort of like a 9, a squared 9, except we don't connect this line right here. And of course, we keep it on the letter upon which we're writing. And then if we were to write it without the dagesh, it becomes a fey. Makes the F sound instead of the P sound that a pay does. And then the next letter is actually a final fey, the F sound, not the P sound. And it draws out just like a big 9, except it doesn't connect on that one point there. And this line being a final letter, it goes below the line upon which you're writing. Now the sadi. The sadi is just a quick little diagonal line from left to right, down, and then a straight line from the right to the left on the line upon which you're writing, and then another little diagonal line to on the right side of it. And that makes a sadi. And a sadi has a final sadi as well. It's just a straight line down, and then that diagonal letter, it looks kind of like a backwards Y again. But it goes below the line upon which you're writing again. That's how you're going to tell it's the final sadi. Now this next letter is kuf, but it's a regular letter, but it goes below the line on which you're writing. It's the only one of them that does that. That's not a final letter. All the rest of them that extend below are final letters. So if you see a letter that's in the middle of a word and it's extending below the bottom, below the line upon which you're writing, it's probably going to be the kuf. And a kuf looks like a P, very much like a P. You don't connect the lines here. They don't actually connect to each other, but they're very close. Now, a resh has always been easy for me to remember because it looks like a backwards R, just like the sound it makes, the R sound. You draw it like kind of like a number 7. But it looks like a block R that's just written backwards. Now the shin, you make kind of a block form W with the extra line for the W coming from this little corner down here on the bottom left, extending horizontally up and right. Now, if it's a shin, it's going to have a dagesh over the right side. If it's the letter sin, which makes an S sound, as opposed to the SH sound that a shin makes, the sin would have a dagesh over the left side. not over the right side. And finally, we have Sav. Now this Sav is missing something, of course. It's missing a Dagesh. Again, you have a Dagesh in the middle here to make it a Sav. You take the Dagesh away as it is in this case, and it's a Tav. And it's like a number 7 with the little leg on the end there. So now that we've gone through this block form, through this script, I'd like everybody to turn to page 1 of their book. Everybody that has the book, turn to page 1. Let me get to page 1 on my end. There we go. Now, what I'd like to do is I'd like to show you what we have here. This is the complete Aleph-Bet as is shown in the book. And it shows the letter as it's written in script form. Or not, I'm sorry, not script form, but biblical form.
Print form.
In print form. Thank
Yeah.
you. Like you'd see in a prayer book or a Tanakh or Chumash. And next, it has the Hebrew word for that letter, the Hebrew name. This word spells Aleph, which is that letter. Now, the script form, you can practice that on your own, but for the purposes of this class, we're not going to use the script form. We're going to use the block form so that everybody's on the same page. So I don't want half the class doing in script form and half the class doing in block form. It's easier if everybody stays on the same style. And the block form is is much easier to write and to use, but the script form is what they actually use in Israel. So it's something that should definitely be learned.
Oh,
Yes.
regarding script and block in Israel. So the script is what is usually handwritten by people. So if someone's writing you a note, they will usually write it in script form. But if you get something that is typed by your typewriter, for those of us old enough to remember typewriters, or by a computer, or by a print shop for a newspaper, it will always be the block form for the printed stuff.
Gotcha. Thank you very much. That's good to know. Let's see here. Next, it has the numerical value. And it has I like this, it has the Ashkenazi and the Sephardic sounds on them.
Beautiful.
So as we go through this, we can study these letters and we can kind of put them together. If we switch pages here, if we have the vowels, we didn't go through the vowels yet. I wanted to do that. Okay. This is how we write the vowels. For the commas, underneath. Now, vowels go underneath, normally underneath the letters, but sometimes they go over the letters and sometimes they're in between the letters. Now, these vowels, the commas, is written very small because it fits under a single letter. So it's very small horizontal line, very small vertical line. And it's written under the letter, like I said, and it makes the aw sound, as in, I like to say aw as in law or paw. For those of you from the South, paw. Yeah. Then the next one is again written underneath the letter, and it's about the vowel. Its name is patach. This one does make an ah sound, as in father, ah. The next letter is just a dot. A dot underneath a letter is a hirik, and it makes an I sound as in sit. Eh. There's certain times it makes a different sound, but we're going to get into that later on. Now, the next vowel we have in our book is seire, and it makes an A sound as in bay. The next is sagol. I'm sorry, the seire goes below a letter as well. It makes an A sound as in bay. It's just two dots. If you put another dot right below it in the middle, you then have the vowel sagol, which makes an E sound as in wet. Eh. The next letter is cholam. It looks like a vav with a dagesh on the top. And it says O as in no, or O as in the dagesh is over the letter. Now, sometimes a cholam can be by itself over another letter. It doesn't necessarily need to be a vav. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. You have to be on the lookout for that. We'll go through that as we build our vocabulary. We'll see different examples of this vowel, the cholam. The next vowel we have are three dots in a horizontal order from the left to the right. It's called a kubutz, and it makes an oo sound, as in moon. Then we have shuruk. It looks like a vav with a dagesh in the belly of the vav, and it also makes an oo sound. Now, people ask, why do we have two vowels that sound exactly the same? This one is always, the shuruk is always in a vav, and so it would add a numerical value of the vav to a word. So that's one reason that there might be a shuruk in there. Also, to differentiate it from a different word that might be using kubutz. Then the next letter, or the next vowel, I'm sorry. Oh, and this, by the way, the kubutz is written underneath the letter, but the shuruk is just like the cholam, where it's in the letter. It's part of the letter, or it's part of the word, rather. Now, this next letter is just, it looks like a colon, like our pronunciation, or our punctuation mark, the colon, and it's called a shava, and it's silent. Now, sometimes you'll see shava in conjunction with other vowels that go underneath the letters. You'll never see it in conjunction with a shuruk. You'll never see it in conjunction with a cholam, but you might see it in conjunction added to any of the other vowels. And in that case, what it does is it just shortens the vowel. So let's say we were saying an oo sound, but there was a shva there. It would be a quicker, it'd just be oo. Does that make sense? How it shortens the vowel sound? So that's what a shva does.
Isn't it always silent? The shava always silent when it's first, and the second one shortens the vowel in a word the second time?
Yes. Yes,
And
the first one's always
Cole,
silent.
if I could just ask one other question. The
Sure.
single dot under a word, I had always learned as a double E, like B, not like
the hirik.
yeah.
The hirik. It does make an E sound sometime when it's combined with a yud.
Okay.
It makes an E sound, but it doesn't always make that sound.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Okay, let's see here. Alrighty, let's go on to Let's go on to our first words. Let's start putting some of these letters together and forming some words. How about?
Excellent.
So the first word we're going to learn, if you'll turn to page 3 in your book, is shalom. First word we learned on lesson 1 was the word shalom. Shalom means peace. When used as a greeting, it also means hello, and as a farewell, goodbye. The pursuit of shalom is one of the highest ideals of Judaism, the pursuit of peace. So here's the word shalom. Let's take a look at it. What sound does the letter shin make? Anybody?
SH.
Makes a sh sound. So then if we add a kamatz to it, we have shah, shah. Then we have the lamed, which makes what sound?
I know.
Ooh.
An L sound. That's right. So now we put those. Hebrew is just like English in this respect. It goes consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel, all the way across the board. So now we have shal. Then the next word letter. What is this? Is this a letter or a vowel? This next character.
Vowel.
That is a vowel. Which vowel is that?
The O.
What's the name of it? Do you remember?
Nope.
It's the cholam. This is the cholam. This is an example of the cholam. And the cholam makes an O sound. So now we have shalo followed by this last letter. What is this last letter?
Mem.
Final mem.
A final mem. Very good. So we have the word shalom. So now we're going to work on how these different sounds work with different letters, how these vowels work with different letters and different letter combinations. So we have on number 1 here, we have the word shalom. And we're going to be working with this letter, the shin, and this vowel, the kamatz. So we know that the shin and the kamatz together makes what sound?
Shaw.
Shah. Very good. So if we go to the next letter with that vowel, which is the lamed and the kamatz, that would make a law sound, just like the word law in English. Now we have shin again. Shin kamatz shah, lamed kamatz law. So this is how that exercise works all the way across the board. So when you're doing this at home, this is going to be great exercise to go along and repeat each one of these consonant vowel combinations. Now we get to number 2 here, and we work with the next 2 letters, the lamed and the cholam, which makes the word or the sound lo. Now, the word lo is actually a Hebrew word. This word means no. No, as in
different
yes,
spelling, different spelling.
or different spelling.
Yeah, lamed aleph is the no. Lamed vav would be for him. So
For him,
lamed
that's
vav,
right.
yeah, lamed vav is the law. Like I would say, like give you something,
Yeah.
10 law. So that's
Gotcha.
this law. Yeah.
Oh,
Gotcha. That's interesting. See how much we all learn when we're learning together?
yeah.
So we know that lamed and cholam says lo. Shin cholam says show.
Hmm.
Show. So then we have the lamed
Oh.
cholam again. Lo, show, show, low, and low. Now we're going to add more of the word. Now we're going to be working with the lamed, the cholam, and the final mem. So this sound is going to say loam, loam. We have it right here again. It says loam. If we add the shin to the front of it, it makes it sound shom. Very good. So then we have the next word is loam, shom, shom, loam, loam. So we're building this word shalom. This is showing us how all the different letters mix with the only two vowels that are in this word. The vowels being the kamats and the cholam. Now we have the same thing on the next line on number 4. Shalom, loam, losh. We now have a lamed, cholam, and a shin, which makes the sound losh. Lamed, cholam, lamed is lol. Very good. And what's the next letter say? Or the next word say?
Low.
Losh. Very good. The next word is lol, lol, and losh. Now on number 5, we have some siddur words. A siddur is a prayer book. So we have the word shalom. Yes.
What does the word siddur mean?
Book.
Ooh. I believe it means book.
It means order. Seder is the shoresh.
Oh, that's right. Seder means the order.
Yep. And the word siddur comes from the same root
Same
as
root.
seder, and it becomes the order of the prayers. Siddur.
Order of the prayers. That makes sense. That makes sense. Oh. Okay. So we have words from the siddur here. So we already know this first word, right? We just learned that up here. So what is this first word?
Hello.
Shalom. Okay. And what's this second word?
Low.
Low.
Low. Okay. Low means no.
Same answers before.
Oh,
Different spelling.
different spelling. That
Yeah.
means
To him.
to him.
Thanks so much,
I'm
man.
sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know where my brain is tonight. To him. Peace to him. Sham means there, I believe. Yes, Matthew? Yeah.
Yes, Cole.
Okay. So you have to double check me with my Hebrew, because I'll be honest with you, although I can read, my vocabulary isn't 100%. I'm relearning vocabulary with all of you.
Excellent.
With all of us, we're all studying together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we have peace to him there. Shalom, lo. Shalom, sham. Peace to him, peace there. So now, does anybody want to volunteer to go ahead and read that line to me back in Hebrew? Number 5.
I can do it.
You can do it? All right, give it a shot.
Shalom. Lo. Sham. Shalom. Lo. Shalom. Sham.
Very good. Very good. Does everybody see how that was done?
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. Very good. Let's go ahead and turn the page here. Now, the second on page 4, the second word we're going to learn here is Shabbat, the Sabbath. So Shabbat is spelled Shin, Patach, which makes a Shah sound, not Shawl. Remember, if that were Kamatz, that would be an Aw sound. So it makes a shorter A sound, a shorter Ah sound, Shah. Then we have a Bet, which makes which sound?
Buh.
Buh. Very good. Buh, as in B. And we have a Kamatz, which is that long Aw sound, Shabbat. Now, don't be thrown if people say good Shabbos with an S at the end. It's a very common, some people say good Shabbos, some say Shabbat Shalom. It all depends upon Ashkenazi or Sephardic. But what we're learning is Ashkenazi, so this will be Shabbat.
No, if this was Ashkenazi, if you're teaching Ashkenazi, this will be Shabbos.
So Shabbos, I'm sorry. You're
Yeah,
right.
not Shabbat. Shabbat will be the
Shabbat
Sephardi.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then since you don't have the dagesh in the taf here, it would be the stav anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Shabbos.
So this
Yeah.
would spell Shabbos. Yes.
Yeah.
So the fourth commandment states, remember the Shabbos and keep it holy. The Shabbos begins every Friday at sundown and ends every Saturday at night after dark. In the home, it begins with the lighting of candles. Shabbos officially ends with the Havdalah ceremony. So again, we're going to start here with the word Shabbos and start with the letter Shin, which we know makes the sh sound as an SH. And now this time it's in conjunction with the vowel Patach. So it's going to be a shorter Shah sound. Now, if we combine that with the next letter, what sound does that make?
Huh.
No, what sound does that letter and vowel make?
Ba.
Ah,
Ba. Very good. Now, this is the Sab and the Patach. So what letter does that make? Or what sound does that combination make? No, Sa.
Oh, yeah.
oh,
It has to have the
Oh, yeah.
dagesh in it for it to be a T sound. The next being the Lamed and Patach makes a La sound,
oh,
as in La, a note to follow so. The next letter is Shin again. We know that's Shah. We have a Bet again. That's Ba. And another Sav is Sa. So on number 2, we work with the letter Bet. The letter Bet, of course, makes the B sound. Remember, all the consonants in Hebrew, the first consonant of its name is the sound that it makes, except for Aleph and Ayin. Those are the 2 silent ones. So a Bet makes a B sound in conjunction with this vowel, which is the Kamatz, makes a longer aw sound, a deeper aw sound. So it says the sound Ba. Shaw with the Shin. Kamatz is Shaw. Sav, saw, like sawing logs. Then the next word, the next sound, law. Then again, we repeat shaw, baw, and saw. So let's start putting these letters together here. Bot, bot. Matthew,
Yes,
Matthew?
Cole?
Is this the same spelling as in bat mitzvah?
Yes.
It is. Okay, very good.
Yeah. So it will still be the same. Yeah.
Okay. So boss is means daughter of, or daughter. Yes, daughter or daughter of.
Yep.
Which one, daughter or daughter of?
It can be either or, depends on how the sentence is written.
Gotcha.
So it's
Thank you
like
very much.
bas mitzvah is daughter of the mitzvah.
Uh-huh.
But you can say zot habat sheli, this is my daughter,
Gotcha.
which would still be.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you. But that is how you spell daughter. Bet, commas, saw. So the next word is shin, commas, sav, which would make the sound shas. Then the next word we have is sav, commas, sav, which sounds like sauce. Now, I want you to take notice how closely these words are written. You see that? There's not much space in between each word. This is very common in Hebrew writing. So you'll see that sometimes the words, they don't run together, but they're really close together. So you'll see that a lot in a siddur, in a
Spacing.
the spacing, you'll see that a lot. Now the next sound we're making is with a lamed, comma, sav, loss. Then we have again shas, boss, and sauce. Again, these are all exercises that are already written out for you. You don't have to do any more writing out except for the block form. You have to practice writing your block form like you do. But these are all vocabulary lessons, or not vocabulary lessons, but lessons to teach you how to sound out the Hebrew language. And they're already written out. All you have to do is go through them and study them once or twice a day, and you'll get it. I don't know how else to put it, because it's consonant, vowel, consonant. You'll see that in every single Hebrew word. How it's consonant, vowel, consonant. Very much like English. So once we learn these different letters, the sounds and the combinations they make, Hebrew comes very quickly. So what is this word right here that I'm circling with my cursor? Bet, commas, sav. What is that word? How do you say that?
Boss.
Boss. Very good. And who remembers what boss means?
Daughter.
Daughter. Very good, Amuela. Now we have a bet, commas, shin, which makes the sound bosh. Bosh. Now we have bet, commas, lamed,
Ball.
ball. Then we go back here.
Not to be confused with Baal from the Tanakh, which is the bad god that the Canaanites prayed to.
Yes, absolutely. Also not to be confused with Baal. Well, I don't know. Is that the same way they spell Baal Shem Tov?
No, that's not how you spell Baal Shem Tov.
That's not the same Baal. Okay.
No,
Just wanted to make sure. Just wanted to make sure.
still missing a letter.
Okay, great. So then we have Baal, Bash, and Bas again, which these letters all come from the word Shabbat, Shabbos. Now we have siddur words. Let's work through some of these. Who can read the first word for me on number 5?
Shabbat.
Shabbos. Very good. Shabbat. Very
Shabbat.
good. Now, what about the second word?
Shabbat.
Shabbat. Those vowels are a little shorter. It doesn't have the commas in it. Now, who can read the third word? The third word,
Shalom.
say again.
Shalom.
Shalom. Very good. Shin, Lamed, Cholam, final mem. Shalom. And the next word,
Shot.
Shas, with an S sound.
The Tav says makes an S. I thought that makes
No, that's a
T.
sav. A tav has a dagesh in the middle.
Oh, I'm learning something every moment. Okay.
Ah,
Now the next word is
Shalom.
shalom. Very good. And the next word, anybody want to give that one a shot?
Low.
Shalom.
Low. Low. And the next word, bow.
Vo.
Very good. Now, Matthew, can you translate number 5 for us?
Which one?
Number 5 right here. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom, Shas, Shalom, Lobo.
That's it.
Well,
So
what's
What's it mean in English?
you're asking for a translation?
yes?
Please.
Sabbath, peace. Shat, I'm not sure what to exactly call it. And then shalom lo, shalom, peace to him. And bo means in him.
In him. Very good. Thank you. Oh, now number 6. Make this a little bit bigger. Oop. There we go. Is that easier to see?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Now number 6. We know that means that says lo, shalom, sham. The next word. Can somebody give me the next word?
Shabbat.
Shabbat, Shabbos. The next word.
Shalom.
No, the next word here. On number 6.
Shabash.
Shabbos. Bas. The next word is bas. And what's the last word on number 6?
Bow.
Bow. Very good. Matthew, would you like to give us a translation of number 6?
No, I think you guys are smart enough to figure this out.
Okay. Yeah, we'll get to it. When we get to our vocabulary, we'll definitely get to the words.
You
Make
all
this-
seem very smart. You're going very well through these words.
Let's see here. Okay. Now, that guy in the red hoodie is not who you think he is.
No,
That's-
no, 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 no. Yeah.
It's supposed to be Moshe. Now, remember when I was telling you that the cholam doesn't always have to have a vav? the vowel, the cholam that has a vav, but it has the dagesh over it. That's what makes it a cholam. It goes over. Well, in this case, if you look at the word Moshe in red at the very top, you'll notice, like I said in Hebrew, it's always consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel. So if I'm looking at this mem, where's my vowel? Where's the vowel? Well, the vowel becomes this dagesh in the shin. They share that dagesh. That dagesh becomes multi-purpose.
Oh.
Oh, I don't want that large. Let me bring it down here. There we go. This dagesh becomes a cholam as well as the dagesh for the shin. So here we have the consonant.
Cool.
The consonant is what? Which letter is this? Anybody know which letter this first
Mem.
letter is?
Mem.
Mem. Very good. So if the vowel is the cholam, what sound does this consonant and its vowel make?
Ooh.
Remember that vowel is over the letters? So
Oh.
it's an O sound. So if you combine a mem with this shared dagesh, this cholam, you have mo. Then the dagesh goes on to help us produce the letter shin. That's the second letter. The shin makes the sh sound, sh sound. So we have mosh. Mem, cholam, shin, mosh. Then we have a sagol, a vowel sagol. Very good. Moshe. Now this hey, at the very end, this letter's the hey. It just kind of puts an end on the word Moshe. It also adds a numerical value to his name. So, now let's read what Moshe, let's read a little bit about Moshe. Moshe means taken from the water. The Egyptians ordered all newborn Hebrew boys to be killed. To save their sons, the parents of Moshe set him afloat on the river Nile in a waterproof cradle. There the daughter of Pharaoh found him and raised him as a prince of Egypt. Moshe never forgot his people. He freed the Israelites from Egypt and led them through the desert to Mount Sinai, where God gave them the Torah. Moshe was the greatest leader the Jews ever had. So now let's go down the page here and look at number 1. Now, remember I was talking about how that dagesh on that shin becomes a cholam? If you were to separate that mem and its vowel from the word Moshe, this is what you would have. Mem cholam, which makes what sound?
Mo.
Mo. Very good. Right there, that first letter and vowel combination on line number 1 here is mo. Now, this one's a little tricky. Who wants to take a shot at this as to what this sound might be?
So.
Show. This is the shin with a cholam. Show.
That's kind of hard to tell apart.
It is kind of hard to tell.
Shin.
If it were a sin with a cholam, it would be sharing the cholam with over the next letter.
Oh, right.
You see? Or it would have a vav and a cholam. One or the other. It wouldn't have the dagesh over the right side at all. That's how you know it's a shin with a cholam. If there's a dagesh over both parts of the shin, you know that's a shin with a cholam, and that makes the sound show. Very good. Now this next word, bow.
Bow. Yeah.
The next word,
Oh,
so. Very good. What about the next one?
Low.
Low. Very good. Now we're back to the first one, mo. And what is the last sound here on line number 1? Anybody want to take a shot on that one?
Show.
Show. Very good. Very good. So remember, sometimes the dagesh of a shin will double its purpose, just like when we see in Moshe. It's doubling itself as a cholam and as a dagesh, as a vowel and as a mark on a letter.
Neat.
Now we can go down to number 2, which has an eh sound. It has the sagol. Shin, sagol. She. So that first sound, that first combination makes the sound she. The second sound is a mem with the sagol. Meh.
Meh.
Then we have a bet with sagol. Beh.
Mm.
Then we have a sob with sagol. Seh. Lamed with sagol is leh. Then we have a mem with sagol again. And a shin with sagol as well. Meh and sheh.
If I got you right, we have a meh and a beh.
Exactly. We certainly do. We certainly do.
Cool. We're
Now
right
you'll
at
see-
9 o'clock. Do you have a homework assignment for this next week coming up?
Yes, I do. So for this next week, what I'd like everybody to do is these past 3 pages that we've done with Shalom, Shabbat, and Moshe. I would like everybody to study those 3 pages and to write down these exercises. And as you write them down, speak them out. Shin sagol hey she, mem sagol hey meh. That's what I'd like everybody to do with all 3 pages that we just studied. This one, the Shalom page on page 3, the Shabbat page on page 4,
The
and Moshe
Shabbos page.
Shabbos page. Thank you. Shabbos page on page 4, and
I don't
on
want
page
Matthew to
5,
correct
the
you
Moshe.
again.
Exactly, right? I'm so thankful we have Matthew here. I really am.
Yes,
Because,
thank you so much, Matthew.
Because this is like I told you at the beginning. This is me relearning some old stuff again and sharpening my skills and learning right along with the rest of you. So I'm just honored to be along for the ride with everybody that comes to class, and the viewers on YouTube and Facebook that want to come and join in. I welcome you every Thursday at 8 o'clock Pacific time to come back to this exact Zoom room. It won't change. The address won't change. And little by little, Dan, we'll get this Aleph-Bet under our belt.
Well, Cole, you got your first fan here. We got Obadiah Ravi saying, thank you for the information. Toda for the class. If possible, kindly send me the Zoom ID. And so I'll give you his email that he sent. We're
Alrighty.
joined by a few other people. It's always a joy to get together and learn anything, but to learn Hebrew and just to be amazed at what it might open up in our minds as far as biblical study. It's so key and so critical. So today we learned Shabbos, we learned Shalom, and we learned Moshe. On top of
Yes.
that, you corrected some of the Aleph-Bet, and I look forward to actually finishing off my homework from last week before I even get into this. But I will do my best to try to keep up with it.
Absolutely. Great, Dan. I appreciate your work with us.
Well, are we done for the day,
Yes,
Cole?
yes,
Or
we are.
have you got any final words you want to say to those listening?
Again, I just encourage everybody to do the homework, to keep practicing, to stick in there. Don't give up. Hebrew is easier than you think. It's like I said, consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel. Once you learn the consonants and the vowels, it really, the rest is gravy. So just stick with it, and we will do this thing. We will learn Hebrew.
Excellent, excellent. Cole, we thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule. We thank your friend Matthew and Shabbat House down there, Shabbat Minyan. We appreciate you guys stepping in to
Absolutely.
actually take the time to oversee a little bit of this so that we're not doing it incorrect. And we want people out there, especially Noahides that tune in on the Noahide World Center, we want them to know that, hey, you can venture in a little, but ask questions and you will grow. And that's what we're all about. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in to Aleph-Bet for beginners with our good friend in Seattle, Cole Younger. Till next week, folks, we'll be on the same time next week. Till next week, have a wonderful, wonderful week.
Thank you. Shalom.